Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach. Why is Clip Studio Paint Pro up? Oh well, because for the 8 billionth time, I clicked on the wrong. I was trying to. They don't even look I mean, they're the same color, but that's really it. So don't need that. Thank you. And so here it is. Uh, some 2018 era e-celebs, Joe Glass and Max Visaggio, just got surprised by the first of the month. Once again, it happens pretty much every month. So Max had a whole thing about his roommate was having a mental health crisis, so he wasn't paying his $500. So of course, strangers had to pay it. That's apparently been resolved. But also, can you spot him $20 for cab fare? Usually I would think this is like a reference to like a catchphrase from a TV show. But no, they're literally stuck in Brother, Can You Spare a Dime from the 1920s. But had a freaking fantastic day yesterday. This might not look like a lot, like, oh, I just did like 4 things. It was freaking massive, especially this one. This one was the whole fucking day, making the superhero fatigue backers list. Indiegogo has absolutely destroyed itself. Stuff that used to take a minute now takes an hour. Stuff that used to take an hour now takes all day. I started on this backers list 8 a.m., finished it around midnight. Some breaks in there, but I got it all finished in one day, which is very exciting. Also got the proof for LAX. It's pretty much ready to go to print. Just one thing. The inside front cover has the credits, but the inside back cover was blank. And that's actually the same sheet of paper that's the cover, you know. So that bothered me. So I was like, oh, take this part of the script and put it there, like how it all began. That's easy fix. That's 5 minutes. So as soon as that gets sent to the printers, I will launch the LAX Kickstarter, which has been approved. Very, very excited about that. So Joe Glass is going through it, as he does every single month, the first of the month when it's time to pay the rent, because he believes he is somehow owed a comics career just because he wants one. So he says, each month is a stress. Each time I think I might be pulling myself out of it, I find myself dragged back under. This in itself makes trying to continue to create so much harder, as I just get mired in depression. This started with Frank J. Barbieri, who is a name I thought sounded familiar, but I guess he's relatively new. He says, many full-time creatives have invisible safety nets like breadwinning partners, trust funds, external support, etc. No shame on it. There's a weird, several, I can think of half a dozen, literally trust fund kids who don't do anything except for, try to make it in comics. So for people who don't know, trust funds usually, you get some sort of allowance, essentially, your whole life. So they don't need to work a job, and there's a weird amount, just percentage of them in comics. I should say the comic space, because some of them they just can't get in, even if they have all this money. So no shame on anyone, but it creates a false vision of success. The cost of going to cons alone, on top of hoping to eat as a freelancer, are untenable. I saw a TikTok. A woman was analyzing New York Comic Con, and she said if you didn't make $20,000 at your table, you're basically a loser. But that seemed to be based solely on the amount of walk-through traffic through the doors, not every single capillary of the convention hall. I think something like 200,000 people went over the entire course of the event. So I don't know. But then Joe Glass responds to this, and he says, honestly, it is really bad right now. I can't even afford to go to cons anymore. I don't earn royalties on anything I've ever made. I spent 15 years of my life on this, and financially it does nothing for me. In fact, it ruined me. Honestly, it's tough being a creator these days. Um, he's at a book fair. He's like, I really need this money. Then, since he's begging, people start begging for him. One of the funniest things I ever saw was Mags put up a begging post, and in the replies, there was another trans person who was like, "Wait, we can just ask for money on this platform?" Like completely guilelessly. And then someone was like, "Yeah, you can." And then they started begging. They did a sub beg. I would appreciate any reposts, folks. I need this to spread far and wide. I want people looking for LGBTQ plus inclusive comics and books to find. Because if I'm asking for help, I hope at least the things I'm putting out there are helping too. Again, guys like this have existed in this alternate universe where there's like no other gay characters except for his extremely stereotypical ones. We're in desperate times yet again. Finances are tight after doing so well out of getting out of the hole. Why are all of his tweets like double entendres? He's like, I'm spreading this far and wide. I just got out of the hole. But things went quiet and I need to pull myself out again. These are all double entendres. Okay, so this is like the full thread. I basically can't afford to go to cons anymore, even when the tables are more reasonably priced, which is now rare. Hotel accommodations for a weekend is so exorbitantly expensive that it's nearly impossible to even break even. Sadly, internet algorithms now make it harder to find new people to check out your work too. Heck, even people who already follow you are unlikely to see your posts unless you A, pay for the privilege, or B, inflate engagement with rage bait or worse, which is something I can't bring myself to do. Okay. When I was just starting out, it felt like the possibilities were endless. However, greedy billionaires and the rise of right-wing ideology and attempts to narrow down and close connections has made being an independent creator more difficult than ever. Add to that the escalating costs, flooded market with AI slop, and publishers who don't fulfill their end of the contract and effectively withhold royalties through lack of communication. You are not owed any royalties for that Pride compendium from like 7 years ago. Shut the fuck up. I honestly can't see how anyone could survive as a creator. It's sad and frustrating to say the least. Let's see if there's any more to this. I mean, the begging never stops, but I'm just saying for today. Sending 2 comics to Canada weighing less than 400 grams and counting as a large letter still cost me £9.40. Is that how you say it? £9.40. Honestly, postage charges are just absurd now. So that's actually, those are good. Those are good prices. And then after the begging, I guess some people started buying his book because he was acting like a sad sack. You're not owed anything in life, man in his 40s. The traditional thing you always hear about from actors is they'll want to move out to LA or New York City, and especially when they have like a spouse, there's always like the same amount of time. The spouse will say like, hey, I'll support you, but if after 5 years it hasn't happened, we're going to call it quits. We're going to go back to Ohio, whatever. And it's never 2 years. It's never 10 years. It's always 5 years. I think that's a very reasonable amount of time to actively try for something. Now, that would not include like the 10 years of learning how to draw, for instance, if you're an artist. But once you say like, I've graduated, I'm out in the world, and I want to do this. Okay, set a timer. Beep, it is whatever. November of 2025. Okay, you have until November of 2030 to become that thing you want to be. And if it hasn't happened, find something else. Find something else in life to enjoy and to be good at. I have a friend, he learned how to play guitar in his mid-40s. He is fantastic. He picked up a guitar almost exactly 2 years ago today. He just practiced every day. And it was kind of funny because he would send me like little videos. It's like, oh, look what I did. Man, he was 1 year in and he was like, down, bing, bing. But he was excited because he did 3 notes, not very well, but 3 notes in a row. And I was like, oh, good job, buddy. Dude, another year later, he could go play professionally. So if he said, I want to be a professional guitarist, it's like, okay, you learned it actually relatively quickly, 2 years. So 2030, that should be your goal. You should have a 5-year plan. And if you don't make it, and if you are begging for rent 10 years in, geez, when did Mags get his Eisner nomination? 7 or 8 years ago? When did he get his own television show? Like 5 years ago? 6 years ago? Stop. You tried. You tried and you failed and it's done. What are you going to do? Just continue to embarrass yourself and be a burden on others forever? Don't answer that question, I know you're fine with it. Anyway, most people aren't. Most people have some sort of dignity and self-respect and say, I don't want to look like a fool my whole life trying for something I'm not going to achieve. Especially when these two in particular only had any kind of success because there was, well, again, like a 5-year period where it was just get any gay person, any trans person, doesn't matter how they act, doesn't matter what they sell, doesn't matter if they have talent, doesn't matter if they can do anything. Here's a Marvel series, here's a DC series, Dark Horse, we're going to compile your Kickstarters, and dude, his fucking, I've shown it before in a video. It was, 2018, 2019, New York Comic-Con. There was a giant unfurled banner of the Pride Compendium. Not because it was good, not because they thought Joe Glass was talented, because it was 2018, 2019, and that's just what you did. And you guys barely made it in the most advantageous time ever for you, where you were being picked solely because you were gay, solely because you were trans. And now that time is over, and you're begging. And every single first of the month, you're shocked. What the hell? This rent thing every single month. Every single month for the rest of your miserable life. Adjust for that. Can someone spot me $20 for cat fare? Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.